This is a grown-ass man crying because he can't marry children, by the way. But don't worry, because I have something cooking for his head top. I wrote an article to describe exactly how I feel about these grown-ass geriatric men crying about the fact that they can no longer legally marry children. 2 days ago, Somalia's parliament passed a landmark law that finally criminalizes child marriages and establishes the age of consent at 18. A reform long overdue, and one that brings a glimmer of hope into a nation that is too often normalized the exploitation of its most vulnerable. For those of us in the diaspora, this is not merely another piece of political news from back home. It is a call to consciousness, a demand that we recognize the privileges of our distance, our safety, our children's protection, and our responsibility to speak loudly on behalf of those whose voices are silenced. What makes this law historic is not only its content, but the immediate backlash it generated from a segment of self-proclaimed Somali imams who attempted to delegitimize it by branding it as Western. As if safeguarding our children's dignity is foreign to Islam, as if preventing old men from preying upon young girls is an alien import, rather than a moral imperative deeply embedded in our values of justice, mercy, and protection of the weak. These so-called religious voices appeal to fear, suggesting that Somalia is losing its authenticity or succumbing to external pressures. But what they truly fear is the erosion of the unchecked male dominance that has allowed them to disguise their desires for control as piety. We need to ask ourselves, how is it that when an old man in the West approaches a child, the entire society reacts with disgust, outrage, and swift legal action? But when the same behavior is cloaked in religious language back home, we are expected to stay silent. Are the lives and the futures of Somali children less valuable than the lives of the children here in Canada, in the United States, or in Europe? Should our daughters, nieces, and younger cousins in Mogadishu, Hargeisa, Garowe, or Baydawa not be afforded the same protections that shield our children in Toronto, London, Minneapolis, or Stockholm? We in the diaspora often congratulate ourselves on being a good fortune. Our children go to schools where they are taught that their bodies belong to them, where an older man approaching them would be immediately reported, investigated, and punished. Many of us are privileged enough to never consider that our daughters might be forced into marriage before they've even finished their childhood. But let us not delude ourselves into thinking this is purely luck or a reflection of a superior society abroad. It is the result of strong, enforceable laws and cultural consensus that protecting children is a non-negotiable. When we see Somali men, some so old that they must dye their gray beards with henna to mask their age, argue with tears in their eyes that child marriage is their religious right, we are witnessing not faith, but the last grasp of patriarchy fighting for its survival. What possible commonality could a man decades into his life have with a girl barely into adolescence, other than his desire for control? He does not see her as a partner, an equal, or a companion. He sees her as someone to mold, to subjugate, or to silence. He sees in her a lack of life experiences, an opportunity to impose his authority unquestioned, and this is a sickness we must name, even if doing so makes people uncomfortable. This is not religion driving this attraction, but pervasion. It is not Islam that commands men to marry children, but lust disguised as tradition. And if we, the diaspora, remain silent, then we are complicit in allowing these predators to wrap their desires in the language of faith. The truth is that Islam has always emphasized protection of the vulnerable. The Quran repeatedly commands believers to uphold justice, to safeguard orphans, to show mercy to those who are weak. To twist our faith into a license for child exploitation is a betrayal of everything the Prophet ﷺ stood for. We must remind ourselves and remind our communities that there is no binding obligation in Islam that demands child marriage. The age of consent being set at 18 is not imported Western concept. It is a reflection of a broader Islamic principle that marriage is a contract requiring the full, mature consent of both parties. Consent cannot exist when a girl is too young to grasp the implications of marriage, when she cannot legally or emotionally negotiate the terms of her future, when she lacks the capacity to say no without fear. Even Saudi Arabia, the land most often invoked as the benchmark of Islamic governance, has established 18 as the legal age of marriage, recognizing that childhood must be preserved and protected. Do these Somali imams feel like they are more knowledgeable, more pious, or more faithful than the scholars of Saudi Arabia who ruled with careful deliberation and justification? Or is it simply that they fear losing a cultural practice that grants them unchecked power over the lives of children? Let us not mistake their nostalgia for patriarchy as a defense of Islam. We know the harms of child marriage all too well. It forces them into pregnancies, and their bodies are not even prepared to bear this, leading to high rates of maternal mortality and other devastating medical conditions. It traps them in cycles of poverty as they are pulled from schools to serve as wives and mothers long before their minds or skills can develop. Psychologically, the impact is profound. A child's thrust into marriage learns that her voice does not matter, that her body is not hers, that her future belongs to the man who chose her. She grows up with anxiety and with trauma, with the scars of being robbed of agency, and these wounds ripple outward into her children, into her community, and into the nation as a whole. When we speak of Somalia's instability, its cycle of conflict and underdevelopment, how can we connect these patterns to the fact that half of the population has been systematically denied the chance to grow up before being forced into adulthood? What nation can rise when its daughters are shackled in childhood? This is why this law matters, and this is why we cannot afford to be silent. Somali youth in the diaspora must understand our privilege comes with responsibility. We live in countries where laws protect us from the predators our politicians back home still debate. We live in places where if a 50-year-old man approached a 13-year-old girl, the police would intervene, the community would react with horror, and the courts would prosecute him. Why then should Somali children not have the same protection? Why should a child in Toronto be treated as sacred and a child in Mogadishu be treated as disposable? If we truly believe in the dignity of our people, if we truly love Somalia, then we cannot accept this double standard. Our duty is not to send money back home only for weddings, funerals, or construction. Our duty is to send back advocacy, to send back our voices, to pressure our politicians to uphold and enforce this law, to hold accountable those who attempt to roll it back. Because make no mistake, these imams crying on camera are not just expressing an opinion, they are mobilizing. They are appealing to the emotions of the vulnerable, to the fear of the poor, to the insecurities of men who feel their control slipping. If we do not counter their narrative, they will succeed in turning back this progress, and Somalia's daughters will once again be sacrificed on the altar of patriarchy.
I knew I made the mistake of praising the Somali government way too early because guess what? They already reversed the decision not to marry off children. Let me be actually specific, not to marry off girls, because I have never seen a case where a Somali boy under the age of 18 has been forced to marry off to a grown-ass woman. It's never happened because they actually let boys grow up and actually get an education. But for God forbid a girl gets her period, she's automatically old enough to be carrying a child around when she's 9 years old. And if you bring the Prophet's name up, you're getting Dambi for that. I hope you guys know that every time somebody brings up the Prophet's name and slanders him by saying that he married a child, you are slandering the Prophet and you are getting so much sin for that. It has already been proven that Aisha was way over the age of 16 when she married the Prophet and didn't consummate the marriage until she was way over 19. The only hadith that says she was under that age is the one that has never been verified, but guess what? Perverted men have stuck to that one because it fits their narrative to continue to marry children and abuse children. Y'all are getting so much dambi for that because when you see pictures like this where the little girl literally cannot physically be around that man, the imam that participated, the parents that participated, the man that did it, all are getting dambi. You are all going through the deepest parts of hell for that. Somalia will never be a prosperous country because they continue to abuse women and children and worship Khabil. That is literally why that country will never be prosperous. There's not a law that prevents men from abandoning those children when they marry them and force them to have children. There's not a law dictating that they continue to take care of the children that they force to have. There's no law forcing a man to actually fulfill his Islamic obligation onto his wife. But guess what? They all decided they wanted to marry children, so now the law has been reversed. The one time I thought our government was actually going to do the right thing, it got reversed because there are perverted men in the Somali government too. And men do not make decisions that protect women and children because they don't care about women and children. They only care about themselves. And in the Somalia's case, they only care about themselves with their Khabil because they worship Khabil more than they worship Ilahi. I've never seen a Somali man die over Islam, but guess how many times I've heard of Somali man dying over his Khabil? That's all I gotta say. And to anybody that's about to come in my comments saying, why am I spreading our ab everywhere? You guys understand it's ab. You guys know it's ab. You know it's disgusting, and you want me to keep it quiet instead of actually speaking out about this. This decision will eventually happen. One day we will move forward as a people and actually stop child marriages, and that day will come soon. But it will happen after we continue to embarrass Somalia in the news, in the media, in the Western countries, because until they are shamed into making progress, they won't do it.
I am more angry than I'm surprised. I am more angry than I'm surprised that men are protesting. Men are protesting. Men are crying on the internet because they want to marry kids. You see your pikin, they cry. It's how men are not okay for me. It is how they are not okay seeing children crying on the internet, and they still want to do it. The person where you won't do one with, they cry, no one do one. But somehow you still feel like you want to do it. You still feel like you want to go on and do it. Don't you see the videos of kids crying? Did you even ask the baby if they want to marry you? Your own pikin, oh. If it doesn't hurt you because it's not your own child, wouldn't it hurt you? If it was your own child that was 13 years old and was 12 years old and they were going to marry them out, wouldn't it hurt you? Is it not going to cause something in your heart, like a stir in your heart, that your child did not meet up their potential? Your child did not even grow up. You did not even give them the time to be babies, to be teenagers, to be young adults. Are men stupid? No, men are stupid. I weep today in my heart, seeing the video of children in Somalia, the children in Nigeria, the children in Eritrea, the children that are circumcised each day because of patriarchy. My heart weeps. My heart weeps. Africa, you are fucked. You are fucked in the way that you handle women. You are fucked in the laws that you make for women. You are fucked. You are fucking fucked. And I hate you. A child is literally using her hand to say, I don't want to be married. Don't force me. Wasn't it a video somebody sent to me that a Nigerian baby was married off, and the next day she took her books, she wanted to go to school, and everybody were dragging the child back into the room. That's what they were doing. They were dragging the baby that wanted to go to school because it's a baby. That girl is a baby. You dragged her back into her room to go and do the duties of a wife. All she wanted to do was go to school. All she fucking wanted to do was go to school. And see where you guys put them. See what you guys are doing to them. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't hurt you the way that it hurt me and hurt every other woman that have spoken about it. It doesn't hurt you that your child is now a wife. It doesn't hurt you. Did you see the girl that they were doing ultra scan for? She was a fucking baby. She was a fucking baby. Pregnant. You know they pain una. You know they pain una until we weep on this fucking internet. You know they pain una. Let's leave our own struggles. The children, the fucking children. You guys hurt them. You hurt them so bad. You hurt them so bad, dear men. You rape them. You molest them. You are pedophilic. And now you are forcing that they marry you. You're forcing them to marry you. Africa, you are fucked. And I call on all African leaders, on all human rights leaders. This is not a joke. I am going to be doing a single independence protest tomorrow on end child marriage. Please, if you want to join me, take your placard tomorrow, write end child marriage in Africa, stand everywhere, take a fucking picture. Take a fucking picture. Go protest. Go to the street. Do something. The internet is not enough. Go to your parliament, go to your government, go to your ministry and demand. Do a change.org. Fucking do something. Let's do something. I want us to do something. Until change happens, let's do something. And this video is to all those women that they use patriarchy to do you people. Person won't come marry your pikin, you they prepare the pikin with lele. Person won't come marry your 13-year-old, your 12-year-old, you have the guts and the audacity to be preparing the child as a bride. May thunder hook you for junction. You literally could run away with your baby to NAPTIP. There are human rights laws everywhere that you can run away to. If somebody wants to marry your child by fire, by force, you don't have night bus, you don't have a baby that you put on your back and run away. Some of you perpetuate this culture. That is why men can protest. Because if you run away with your own child, another person run away with their own child, another person run away with their own child and go to the fucking NAP team or to the fucking Women Affairs Commission or to anywhere that supports women or NGOs, we will not be having this discussion today. There are NGOs and NGOs that have fought the fights, tried to get funding, grant like Dorothy Njemeze Foundation. You can go there. There's so many foundations everywhere that combat child marriage. But what will you do instead as a fucking stupid mother that you are? You prepare your child. I was telling somebody, I said the female genital mutilation, is he a man that is using razor to cut the woman's kpekus? The children's kpekus that they are using razor to cut. Now still mama sit down for inside the female genital mutilation hut. They cut people children. And so if you guys don't have sense and you guys are still perpetuating the cultures that has kept us where we are, then fuck you. Fuck you. I swear I have no apologies for you. You cannot tell me that a poor man wants to marry a poor old man wants to marry your child. A rich old man, I don't care, because you guys will not say I'm making it economical. Any man was so fucking ever wants to come and marry your child, you're 13, you're 12, you're 10 years old. You are doing lily. You are decorating the child. You are inviting people to come for the marriage. Get the fuck out of my presence.
Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. We are coming out to say end child marriage in Africa. Enough is enough. From Somalia to Nigeria to Ghana to Ethiopia to Uganda. Nigeria and Africa has practiced for a long time under our nose child marriage. And today we are here to say enough is enough. Why can't children have access to their own childhood? Why is the childhood of children robbed away from them? Children cannot dream in Africa before they are becoming a child bride. Kids with kids, babies with babies. We are tired, and today we are calling on the people in the right places to do the right thing. End child marriage in Africa. End child marriage in Africa. We are calling on the people in the right places to do the right thing. Reverse the law. No child should be married before the age of 18. EU did not send us back. Do not send us back. We are running to your countries because of our bodies have become policies in Africa. Our bodies have become policies in Nigeria. Our bodies have become policies that men are going out to protest and having their protest overturned in 24 hours. While women have used our voice and nobody has listened to us. We see the patriarchy. We see the power of patriarchy and we are tired. We are tired and we are tired. And today I am saying end child marriage in Africa.
End men who marry children. End men who marry children. End men who marry children. End pedophilias. Yes. End men who marry children. Yes, that's it. Some of your fathers are pedophilias. You know, your mothers were underaged brides. Yeah. Amen. So end men who marry kids. All right, that's the message. The end.
Just to be clear, it isn't child marriage, is it? It's girl marriage. No women are marrying boys. It's perverted old man perverts marrying little girls. So, girl marriage, not child marriage, girls.
What are you looking for in the vagina of a 13-year-old girl? Like, I don't understand. Days ago, Somalia passed a law that they want to end child marriage. And within 24 hours, that law was revoked because the men kind of kicked against it that no, it's their religion. They're not going to end child marriage. Men, what are you looking for in the vagina of a 13-year-old girl, an 11-year-old girl, a 12-year-old girl? You men are pedophiles. Simple. That is what you are. And you are hiding under religion to perpetrate crime and say it is your religion. Let me tell you, and this is what happened in most African countries like Ghana, Nigeria, Somalia, some part of Zimbabwe and the rest. I grew up in the northern part of Nigeria and I'm going to tell you all a story. This is the same child marriage we have been shouting for since the 90s. It is not abolished because it's benefiting the men.
it is benefiting the men. So the men have the audacity to come to say they are not going to end child marriage because it is their religion. What will a 13-year-old girl do for you as a wife? What will a 13-year-old girl do for you as a wife? At 13, some girls cannot wash their pants. They cannot bathe properly. Some girls have not attained menarche at 13. I was one of them. At 13, I was not menstruating. Some people are late bloomers. They did not have attained puberty on time. At 13, I was not menstruating. And this brings me to the story I'm going to tell you. When I was working in the northern part of Nigeria as a midwife, we've had cases, like it's a normal turn. It's a normal thing. A girl come into the maternity or to the antenatal, she's pregnant, and you ask this girl, when is your last menstrual period? Because this is how you can tell how many weeks the pregnancy is by calculating from their last menstrual period. I'll tell you what, the girls don't know what is menses. Oh God, they don't know what is menses because these girls never menstruated. The very first time these girls will menstruate, like before they even start menstruating, they are married to these old men, and the very first time their body is going to produce an egg to become the menses, like, you understand, the very first time the body produces an egg, that man gets that child pregnant. And you come to the labor room to find girls that their reproductive system are not matured, pushing out babies. That is where you have cases like the fistulas, they are like the bladder and the vagina. What is it called? I forgot. The fistula, because their body is not wide enough. The reproductive system is not well developed to push out that baby. They end up having fistulas. These girls having prolonged labor. Some of them lose their life. The baby as well lose their life. Some of these girls go through psychosis and all. This is what men in Somalia and other parts of Africa are saying it should not be abolished. Men are pedophiles. You tell me nothing. Men, most men, they are pedophiles. If men should be allowed to do what they want with women, women have no place on earth. They will unalive all of us. If they want to, because as far as I'm concerned, a 13-year-old girl cannot make any decision for you as a wife. A 13 years, like even in normal biology, your brain, your frontal cortex, your brain is not fully developed until your early 20s. At least let's leave it at 20. That is what we can at least listen to, that you want to marry a 20-year-old, even though the person's brain is not fully developed, because it's at your mid or early 20s that your brain is fully developed. And we are still in 2025. Men are clamoring for child marriage, to marry 11 years, to marry 12 years, to marry 13-year-old girls. Because why? They want to dominate them. They are pedophiles. They don't want, oh Jesus. But I, Chukunonso Helen Uche, I am here standing in solidarity for all the young girls, all the girls all over the world, all the girls that are being tormented or being traded, because this is a trade given to men as child. I stand in solidarity to say, end child marriage. End child marriage. Allow the girl child breathe. The girl child is facing a whole lot. Leave the girl child alone to go to have an education, to live, to breathe like the boy child, because the girl child is as important as the boy child. I say it again, I stand, end child marriage.
What is this? This is awkward. This is weird. She's terrified. She's not smiling. Body language, stiff, uncomfortable. Yeah, wedding's supposed to be joyful. She's frozen. This is weird. This is forced marriage. Hello, what is this? Right? This is not love. It's literally obligation. Damn, pressure. What? And get this, somewhere down the line, religion was used to justify this video. to justify this. What? I'm not saying religion allows this. Certainly it doesn't, right? But religion was used to justify this. The guy has dripped up like a Malin. He knows what he's doing. This is weird. I feel so sad for this young lady. Why do we have this in our community? Can we get rid of this? Appreciate that. Let's respect her. Let's make marriage happy.
You know this end child marriages that they are doing now. This protest that OBD just started. The protest is after my heart. I like this protest. I love it. I wish that everybody can take it seriously, because enough is really enough. It don't do. Go to Bauchi. Go to some Islamic states in Nigeria. You will see a 13-year-old baby, a baby having a baby. You will see. Hey, you will see somebody that she never even get menstruation. She just had the menstruation last week. They've already married her. For why? For what? Why? If you tell them, culture, tradition, is it not human being that sets the culture? Can't you people change it? Can't it be changed? What sort of nonsense is that? And you too, the parents of these children, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart that God will punish you people. God will punish you people. You will collect bride price or dowry or whatever it is you people call it, and then you carry your 14-year-old child that does not know anything to an old man's house to live. What the hell? What the actual fuck? Me, as I'm like this, I'm not even ready to give birth. I'm not ready for marriage. And I already know something, no, at my age. You now carry 14-year-old girl that don't know anything about life. She does not know shishi. You will not carry her and say it's marriage. That she's old enough to marry. But she's not old enough to be put in a position of power, Abi. She's not old enough for you to put in school. She's not old enough. But you people are very... I don't understand how you people are so comfortable with your religion, belittling and oppressing a particular gender group, and you are comfortable. If it was women that went for that protest, they will not have reversed that law in 24 hours. They go do as if they don't see us. But because in our men, grown adult men, took to the streets to say, please, if I want to, they took to the street to say they want to be marrying children. All of a sudden, 24 hours later, they've reversed the law. End child marriages in Africa. Not be only Somalia, this thing they do. Everywhere. Go to Bauchi, go to Kano, go to the north in Nigeria. Come to Ghana too, the same thing. You will go to Navrongo. You will see a 13-year-old child in Navrongo. Why is a 13-year-old child carrying a baby for you? Why is she?
Girl child marriage is rape. Girl child marriage is pedophilia. Girl child marriage is abuse. Girl child marriage is attempted murder. Girl child marriage is murder for those that did not survive the labor room, or those that did not survive the abuse or the trauma or the depression that comes with being a wife as a child. A woman never fully recovers from childbirth, and childbirth should not be something that a child should be going through. A child should not be going through pregnancy in the first place. And why is a child pregnant? End child marriage in Africa. If a teenager cannot be a bank manager, a teenage girl cannot be a wife, and a teenage girl cannot be a mother. If a teenage girl cannot be manager of central bank, a teenage girl cannot be a wife. If a teenager cannot be a practicing doctor until they're in their 20s, a teenager cannot be a wife. End girl child marriage in Africa. A woman never fully recovers from childbirth. The emotional trauma, the depression, the postpartum, the abuse. You exploit these ladies sexually. You people are not marrying children because of anything. You are marrying children so you can exploit them sexually. That's the answer. So you can control them, control their mind, and shape them into whatever you want them to be. End girl child marriage in Africa.
It's all culture. Yeah, but it oppresses women. Culture seems to oppress only women. Culture has never oppressed men. Culture, traditional rights, whatever these things they say, it never oppresses men. It always oppresses women. Somehow there is a part of culture where women are not allowed to do something. Somehow there is a part of culture that supports the oppression of women. Now, end child marriage in Africa. Now they are saying it's culture, it's the community. The community always affects women. The community never affects men. Everything that has been built affects women. It never affects the men. The men somehow benefit from it. Every single culture, structure, tradition, anything that has been erected in any rural community always affects the women. The women always bear the brunt of it while the men sit at the top. And benefit. Every single thing in culture benefits men.
They did not put women in mind when they were doing those cultures, when they were setting those traditions. They did not put women in mind. In fact, they put those structures up to oppress women. And girl marriage in Africa. And girl marriage in Africa. Let culture stop being the cord that has been wrapped around young girls' necks. Let culture stop being the noose that hang young girls. And girl marriage in Africa. Culture has become the very thing that kills the dreams of young girls. Culture has become the very thing that has made young girls a sacrifice. Young girls are being sacrificed. That's the word. That's what you do when you give your 7-year-old daughter, or you betroth your 9-year-old daughter to a 60-year-old man, to a 30-year-old man. You sacrifice her. She's like a lamb going to the slaughter. No dreams, no ambitions, no opinions. You've just end girl marriage in Africa. End girl marriage in Africa. That's it. That's the message. And if you follow me, hey, hop on this too. Okay? Thank you.
End child marriage in Africa. These men that marry these children, they bring absolutely nothing to the table apart from erectile dysfunction, UTIs, and different kinds of infections. You steal their light, you steal their potentials, you kill their dreams, you steal their entire life. You turn them to baby making machines, you turn them to nymphomaniacs, you do whatever you like to them. You explore them till you are tired of them, then you divorce them. This is 2025. End child marriage in Africa. If from the age of 0 to 21 is child marriage, I don't care if you married at the age of 19 and you got it right, that's your business. End child marriage in Africa. We end girl child marriage in Africa. This is 2025. These men bring absolutely nothing to the table. Your own contribution to society is just to come to this world and marry children, then you steal their dreams, you kill their dreams, you kill their potentials, and you turn them to baby factories. You turn them to whatever you like. That's your own contribution to society. Now, we stand to say no. Somebody has to be the voice. Somebody has to say something. End girl child marriage in Africa.
It's wild and it's heartbreaking to think that in 2025, we need to have campaigns that say, end child marriage, end girl child marriage. And I love that we're making that emphasis finally, that it's not the grandmothers that are crying because they don't get to abuse and take advantage of somebody else's grandchild, right? It's not the women crying because they don't get to be pedophiles to young boys. It's men. It's men, right? And whilst it's prevalent in specific parts of the world, and it's written in the culture and in the religious practices and beliefs, this is a worldwide epidemic, right? That children are just being given up to the perversions of the elderly, of the elders. And while some countries are there trying to make it right and say this isn't okay anymore, let the girl children be girl children. Let them grow up unencumbered by the advances, the marriage to grown men, girls barely coming into their own womanhood, barely hitting puberty, being given away to disgusting, perverted men. And when you sit and think about it, it really gets twisted. That how do mothers in these communities, in these places, fight for their daughters when they were given as child brides, right? It's even more sadistic and twisted when you think, how do the fathers and the uncles and the brothers fight for it when they have probably married the child, right? So it's so ingrained. And they'll use whatever manner of religion or belief or whatever, or practice, whatever they want to use, they'll use it and say, this is ordained, this is okay. Right? And in the West, because it's not just happening in specific parts of the West, this is happening everywhere, right? In the West, they in a few weeks ago, or about a month ago, Texas, I think it was in Texas or one of those states, wanted to pushing to roll back the age of consent. Right. And when you think of the fact that the people that make these laws are seniors, most of them are seniors, they're grown adults who have children themselves, right? And even if they don't, they're grown adults. Yet what business do grown adults have gathering together and thinking that, yes, this is what we're going to do? Of all the things we could do for the country, for the citizens of this country, what we're going to do is we're going to make it easier for sick and twisted adult individuals to have their way with children. We're going to make it so that we're dropping that age. We don't want them to grow up. We don't want them. We don't want them to grow up. They belong to us. Imagine, can you understand? We're meant to be sovereign beings. We're meant to be so enlightened. Look at the world. Look at all our shiny buildings and all our scientific advancements. Look at everything we've achieved. Yet we're so advanced. We're so backward. We need legislators to we need old people to legislate and control a woman's body and sexuality. Children to make it easier for adults to do whatever they want, whenever they want, to make it legal. And when one place is trying to make it illegal, out come the outcry, how could you take this from me? Something is seriously wrong with this world. And I cannot even imagine the fear, the trauma, the pain that these girl children go through. You see the videos, you see it, you see it, you see it, you see it. You hear the stories, and it is heartbreaking. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. End it. End child marriage, child brides, girl children. Because as I said, and as we're finally definitively saying, it's not the grandmothers or the mothers or the aunties crying because they don't get to be disgusting. It's the men. It's the men. And the crazy thing is you'd never know it by looking. That is what is so scary. If we can't tell how dangerous some adults are, how could a child ever be able, how are our children safe? Everyone should be talking about this. All the men that claim to be feminists, if I don't care if you have a sister or a daughter or a lover, I don't care what your orientation is. I don't care if you are a human being. We should all be screaming, end child marriage. End it. End it. Save the baby girls. What are we doing? What are we doing that they should just be offered up as fodder? What is this? Like, are we all just on a train to hell itself? Come on. If this doesn't anger you, if this doesn't break your heart, if this doesn't make you, I've got to say something, I've got to do something. Right? Because it may not look like child marriage in the West, but there are families, there are communities, right, that we all know and hear about where this stuff is allowed. It's even now starting to be legislated, where we're just going to keep knocking that age back. What are we doing? What are we doing? If you're, I'm tired, right? I'm tired. We're all tired. Imagine, we just save our girl children. End child marriage. End girl child marriage. End it. End it. Put these people away. Imprison them. Literally. And what makes me mad is that in trying to talk about this, we have to care more about using these terms that are acceptable for these platforms, because these platforms would rather protect some. Who are they protecting? Because see, the victims the victims live it. They live the horror of rape. They live the horror of being essayed by a pedophile. They live that horror. Not the code word. They don't experience the code word, the safe word. They experience the reality. But we have to, when talking about it, we have to abide by Oh my God, whatever. You know what? I think that's why I try and stay off social media. It's because I get too, it's too much. It's too much. End child marriage. End girl-child marriage.
I won't just come and say end child marriage. As somebody that grew up around an area where there was a lot of child marriage amongst people that I used to play with, so I'm going to tell one of the stories instead. So when I was 8 years old, there was this girl that I started playing with, and she was around my age, and one day I went there to play with her. She didn't come out to play, and that happened a couple of times. So I went inside the house inside their compound. Their gate is like very big and the fence is high. People don't like going there. So I didn't want to go inside without her because I've been inside before. But that day I just summoned up courage and I knocked and they opened the gate and I went inside. And I saw her sitting down like alone in one, the compound is very big, but she was just sitting down alone in one small stool. And the mom was sitting somewhere else under a tree with a mat on the floor and she was knitting. Then the stepmom, because there were two wives in the house, the stepmom was picking beans. So when I got inside, the mom was knitting and that caught my attention immediately. So I went there and I started knitting with the mom and she was teaching me her techniques. The girl still hasn't said anything. She was just sitting there, quiet. Eventually, the mom asked me, when are you getting married? Mind you, I was 8 as at the time of this event. And I didn't know the response to give her. I was just looking at her. And she said, you see... Hulera, that was her name. Her name is Hulera. She said, you see Hulera now, she's about to get married and you are older than her. Then the other wife responded and said, what in then say sing me degree, and both of them started laughing. When I got bored with the meeting, I started playing around the compound, just picking up stuff. You know how kids behave now. So I called her, I did this, and she looked at me. And immediately she looked at her mom. You know that movement, like when your mom asks you not to do something and, you know, you try to look at them for approval. So she did that. And immediately she looked at her mom. I looked at the mom as well. And the mom was looking at her like this. So I turned back to look at her and she just bent her head. So after that movement, I got up and I left and I never saw her again. So there was this other woman that I used to go to carry her baby. Because she had a newborn baby, and as a kid I used to love newborn babies. I became friends with the woman basically. So one day I saw her running. She was carrying the baby and she was running. So immediately I followed her and I was asking her what's wrong with the baby. I've forgotten the boy's name. So she said somebody died. She couldn't answer me. She just said somebody died. So I started following her immediately. And when we got there, the stepmom was the one that opened the gates. And we were already entering. Immediately the mom of the girl sighted me from where she was sitting, still that same under tree that she was sitting that day on the mat. That was where she was, and she was crying. Immediately she sighted me, she started wailing. The stepmom kicked me out and like just slammed the door in my face. It was a small door of the gate. Eventually I started just asking around. Their opposite neighbor, one of the kids, they were the ones that told me that the girl died. They don't know what killed her, but she already got married. This was like months later after that day that I left there. Few months later, again, when I was in primary 5, my classmate that was not more than 12 years old got married to a man that was so old that his body was already bending. Like when we saw him, like he was hunching over. That man should be probably in his 80s. And she was about 12 because we were in primary 5. It's unfortunate that when it comes to the female species, the whole human race has evolved to have less mercy and not see women as children at any age. But the problem is the behavior of the group of men that like marrying children is never discussed. And that's where the problem comes in. We're too sentimental as a species. We're not talking about the behavior, the mental state of these people that are interested in marrying children. It's a kink. If you go to states where child marriage is a thing, there are a lot of divorces that happen. Most of the time, the men end up abandoning the children. Like the case of Hajia Gambo Sawaba. When she was 13, she was married off. When she got pregnant, the man left because at the end of the day, a child is a child and their behavior is going to show based on their age. There are a lot of cases like this. If the child turns up with any disease, the man abandons them. If they get tired of them, because they are kids, they don't know how to clean themselves properly. So a lot of time they start to smell. the men abandon them. At the end of the day, it's just a kink. And there's one that I want to speak about. A guy came to my life and told the story, and he said he had to leave, like stop practicing religion because of this. Because the adults around the area know that, not the area, the adults, they know that this is happening and nobody is doing anything about it. The guy is in Jos. He said that the men that marry these children, they have a concoction that they take on the wedding nights that makes their stuff big, because the goal is, if you sleep with a child and the child doesn't get admitted to the hospital, then you are weak. That's like the thing there, like you as a fully grown man, you do something with a child and the child doesn't go to the hospital, you are a weak man. So because of that, they take this concoction, and the goal is to ensure that the child ends up in the hospital. And according to this guy, he said if you go to the hospital, you see small children, girls, with, he called the disease. Please, if you're watching this video, I would like you to put the name of the disease you mentioned in the comment section. Thank you. That the children normally turn up with. Some of them end up losing their ability to hold pee, which I also witnessed with one of the girls that I was playing with. That one, she survived, but she was peeing on herself. Like every time you see her, there's peas running down her clothes. So the adults, they know that this is happening and nobody's saying anything, because the people that it's happening to are usually people at a disadvantage. This is why I'm always against having children that you cannot take care of, because that's where it happens. When you have kids that you cannot take care of, you have to find a way to not love them enough and hang them out to dry, put them in situations that will end their life, and you won't even care. You can just come and cry and you'll move on because you are poor and there's nothing you can do. Then for the people, I've seen a couple of comments saying in Nigeria, the age of consent is 18. The Nigerian constitution and the constitution in many countries says the age of consent is 18. But if your religion permits it, the parents have the right to marry a child off at any age, as long as the parents are the ones championing it. It's fine. Even if she's 7, 8, 9, it doesn't matter, as long as it's the parents doing the same thing in Somalia. I don't want this video to be too long, so I think the state of mind of the grown-up men who are interested in children should be put into consideration here, so that they'll be shamed accordingly. Bye.
When you think about why child marriage, why girl child marriage, let's not just say child marriage, understand, in Africa, all the reasons you can think of, I mean, all the reasons they came up with, whatever reason they have, boils down to trying to control the girl child, the girl before she becomes a woman. It's basically like the men or society are scared of what girl child could become. You understand? And trust me, the becoming is not, it's not like harmful to the girl child, because the becoming that they are scared of is the girl child is going to grow up to be a woman that have her own mind, have her own opinion, be able to make her own decisions, be independent. And these are all things like these are all things that men in our society see as negative things. For an adult to have her own mind, for an adult to be able to make her own decision, to be independent. And my biggest question is, why are they so scared of that? Like, have you ever thought of it? Why the fear? Why are men so scared of the fact that a woman having her own mind? They're so scared of that to the point that they don't mind harming a child, a girl child. They don't mind raping an underage. They don't mind marrying her, even though she, at that point, she's not yet ready for it, because they are scared of her being ready, of her being herself. Why being yourself is such a threat to men as a girl child, as a woman? Because if you look at girl child marriage, is what you as an adult you go through as a woman, that is like agonizing. It's really agonizing. They put the girl child, underage girl child, through it. So the nagging question for me is, why are men so scared of a woman being her individual self, her being a human being, an adult with her own brain, with her own decision, with her independence? Call me reaching or say I am reaching, but I couldn't help. What kept coming to my mind is, we women, girl child, are created for greater things. We are not meant to follow all these rules set by men. We are that piece that is meant to, we are meant to shape it. We are meant to reshape it that is going to change the dynamic of everything. And I think that is what the society is scared of. The society in this case, I always say this, society in my own context is men, because look at everything, the system and everything. Yes, they utilize some women, but it's them that set up all these things to favor them. So I want to tell you, as a girl child, as a woman, think within yourself. And as a woman, wherever you are, if you see a girl child, do your best. Do everything you can to protect that girl child. Because she is created for a greater purpose. She is not meant to be married off at that age. Let her reach her full potentials. Think about it. Why are boys not put up for marriage at such tender age? Why are they allowed to reach their potentials? Why are they given such leverages all the time? Why are girl child treated like they are something? Like, I don't know, there's this internal fear inside of me when it comes to girl child girl child reaching her potential. Just think about it. Why? What is wrong with it? Because when is a man that is trying to reach his full potential is a positive thing. When a man have his independent thinking is a positive thing. When a man have his own brain is a positive thing. So why is it a girl child reaching her full potential, being independent, doing all these things is seen as such a negative thing? Really? Let's think deeper than just the surface. We are created for greater things, for better things than all these things. We are not meant to be zombies. We are meant to deconstruct. We are meant to reconstruct all these things that they created, the system. And don't limit yourself. End child marriage in Africa. Thank you.